What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 12th. My name is Will. Joining me is my co host, Eric. And today we're going to go through a recap of some of the games and just talk to you guys about what we thought from a fantasy perspective and from a football perspective. But before we get into that, Eric, you got anything for the people?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to get into this one. Some of our biggest takeaways from week one. Excited to have football back. But also, real quickly, before we get into it, we would very much appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to the channel. We've had a lot of watch hours and not a ton of subscribers. So we know that people are watching the video. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please, please, please hit that button. It means a lot to us. Also, hit that notification bell so you're ready for all the videos that come out in the future. And specific to this video, we are going to try to go through this fairly quickly. These recap videos can take a long time. So if there's anything that we missed, glossed over, something that you want to talk about, either hit us in the comments and let us know down there. We'll respond to you. Or check the link in the description for our Discord and we can chat it up in there as well.
Absolutely. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start off in reverse order. So we're going to go with the newest games, work our way back. We're starting off with Buffalo against New York. And this one, bit of a heartbreaker at the start, to be honest with you. But what do you think about this one, Eric?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. 4 snaps into the game, Aaron Rodgers done for the season with a torn Achilles. Doesn't get much worse than this for Jets fans. And honestly, for Garrett Wilson owners, when it comes to fantasy, I hate to say it and be this reactionary this early, but I think it's the truth. Garrett Wilson is probably a sell in redraft. He did get in the end zone and had that fantastic highlight reel catch on what was really a terrible throw from Zach Wilson. So I think with that being said and with that production being put up in week one still, you could try to take advantage of that. The guy that I'm kind of looking at in this range is probably like T. Higgins, who was on the opposite end of the spectrum with a literal goose egg in week one, who I fully expect to bounce back. What are your thoughts on that and kind of the target trade options there?
No, I 100% agree. I think Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson at quarterback is a huge downgrade. It's sad to see for Aaron Rodgers done for the season, possibly done for a career. 39 years old with an Achilles injury, not great. But in terms of what you're saying with a fantasy value, I would think that's a great trade. I think T. Higgins, he's due for a big bounce back because the Bengals struggled a lot. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I absolutely believe Garrett Wilson for T. Higgins in this situation. I feel like that'd be pretty fair.
Yeah. And then one more takeaway from the Jets side of the ball, at least. Brees Hall looked fantastic. I believe 3 of his first 4 touches went for over 20 yards, and his first 2 rushes went for over 100. It was fantastic to see. Obviously, he's still not 100%. I think he probably would have housed that
Mm-hmm.
second run that went for 83 yards had he been fully healthy. He didn't get the full workload, but he still managed to put up a great day in fantasy, and it's only going to get better from here.
100%, especially with I feel like with Aaron Rodgers down, I think this is just Brees Hall is the guy to have in this offense for sure. Dalvin Cook didn't really get much done yesterday, so Brees Hall looking amazing. Um, and then just for the Bills side of the ball, just because this is going to be pretty quick, there were only 2 guys out there we're really going to talk about. Josh Allen, oof, not a great
Yeah.
start. I feel like this is one of 2 Josh Allens we always get. He's either amazing or he's this, and this is what we got last night. He couldn't even beat a hobbled Jets team, so not the greatest in the world. Stephon Diggs doing Stephon Diggs things. Not too much to talk about there. He got his targets, got his volume, did what he did with it. James Cook disappointing, but we kind of expected that to be honest with you. But Dalton
Yeah.
Kincaid on the field a lot, targeted 4 times, but on the field a lot. So optimistic for that, especially if you're looking for a young tight end, somebody who, if he's available on your waivers. I'm not really sure how available he is in the redraft leagues. I feel like he is pretty available.
I think it depends on the depth of your league, obviously, but
Yeah, somebody to look at,
if
not
he if
somebody to
he's out
pick up.
there,
Not somebody to pick up. Somebody to look at if he's out there. Depends on the depth of your league, like
yeah.
you said. But
Um,
that's all we really got for that one. We're gonna move on to the next game right here, which wasn't really much of a game. Dallas against New York. Uh, Starting this one off with the Cowboys, the defense just looked incredible. Put up 35, 37 points in some formats. 35 I've seen as the general consensus. And Tony Pollard still putting up numbers even in a blowout, scoring 2 goal line touchdowns. So they kind of immediately answered what they were going to do without Zeke. And he's just the goal line back out there for sure. He's the guy they're going to lean on when they need him. They just didn't really need him, and they still leaned on him. So definitely good to see there. What do you think about the Giants side of the ball?
they ran into a buzzsaw, man. This Dallas defense is probably the best in the league. But even with that being said, still not encouraging to have a literal goose egg on the board. Daniel Jones looked flustered. He was running for his life back there. The only real positive that I can think of from that side is that Darren Waller didn't look that hampered by the hamstring injury that we heard about that limited him in practice this week. So I'm hoping for better things going forward. Immediately going into week 2, they play the Cardinals, so that's going to be a very different look for them.
Absolutely. But then looking at week 3 against the 49ers, it might be a repeat of week 1. But
Yeah.
we're going to be optimistic they can get it together in the next couple of weeks. Taking a look at the next game we got here, we got the Los Angeles Rams against the Seahawks. This one was one of the most unexpected outcomes for a game for me. The Rams were in very much control of this one from the start. What do you think about the Rams side of the ball? You got anybody to talk about? Because I know you got some people to talk about over here.
It was a very, very interesting game. Matt Stafford isn't done yet, man. A lot of people thought he was washed. A lot of people thought he was dead and gone. He's not. He looked fantastic. He looked like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He didn't really produce that well for fantasy just because of the lack of touchdowns, but tons of yardage, great throws, and that led to great days for Puka Nakua and Tutu Atwell. I think much bigger than we would have even expected. They're going to have really important roles going forward. Of the two, I think it's probably important to note that once Cooper Cup comes back, I think Tutu Atwell's role is probably going to be the least affected, just based on the areas of the field that he's used in. Puka is probably going to get less work, but still very impressive to see from him. And lastly, Cam Akers is dead,
Yeah.
dead. 22 carries, 29 yards. He kind of saved himself with a touchdown, but also important to note, only 4 snaps in the first half. It was all Kyron Williams. Yeah, Kyron Williams dominated the first half. All of Cam Akers' touches really came in the second.
Yeah, it seemed like they used Cam Akers for a lot of what seemed like garbage time, really. But Kyron Williams was definitely looking like the better running back out of that backfield for sure. Like you said, Puka is going to be the one more affected. You're kind of hoping he's going to end up getting like that older Robert Woods kind of role in the offense and not quite the Allen Robinson role in the offense last year. But, the time's only going to stand to be seen.
I
What's
do
up?
think he's going to be the main beneficiary until Cooper Cup comes back for these first
Absolutely.
4 weeks. But yeah, then after that, we'll see.
Absolutely. I definitely agree there. And taking a look at the Seahawks side of the ball, Kenneth Walker surprised me yesterday. Probably surprised a lot of people. He's still the bell cow for this team, still got bell cow usage. We thought things would be split more between him and Charbonnet, but it turns out it looks like Charbonnet was third on the depth chart. So it's looking like Kenneth Walker, sort of the bell cow, first and second down guy, sometimes third down guy. DJ Dallas is for sure in that third down role, and Zach Charbonnet just kind of seems to be a backup to Kenneth Walker. But that's probably going to change as the season goes along. I feel like it will get to more of a split, but as for right now, Kenneth Walker is the guy in this offense, far and away. And both offensive tackles got hurt for this, hurt for this team. And maybe the Rams defense isn't as bad as we thought, but Seattle's offense looked pretty bad. Something else to note: I believe Jackson Smith and Jigba 22% target share, I believe, over this weekend. 26% route participation. Not is it route target share? There's so many stats, but
We're going through this
Yeah.
really fast, rapid fire.
the issue is he was on the field with 3 wide receiver sets. Wasn't on the field a whole lot with 2 wide receiver sets, but that's going to change. I feel like going forward a lot because he was earning targets out there against with pretty elite competition with Tyler Lockett getting hurt as well. Probably going to open up the field for him a little more too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up as well. Tyler Lockett missed a whole quarter of this one. There was a suspected head injury. I think he cleared concussion protocol, at least on the field, and was able to get back in the game, but never really got used again after that. I think the league is probably going to look into that a little bit more, so we got to check to see if he goes back into concussion protocol. We'll see. But the offensive tackles that you mentioned, that's going to be huge for this team. Like the backup offensive tackles that came in looked horrendous. And that whole second half, I think they gained a total of 3 yards on offense. So it could get ugly quick.
Yeah, we're hoping that they can bounce back a little bit. Pete Carroll can figure something out, but who knows? Taking a look at the next game, we got Miami and Los Angeles. Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill. That's all I really got to say. It was the Tyreek Hill show. Tua and Tyreek.
Yeah.
It was those two. The run game wasn't there because they didn't need it. Tyreek was getting everything done out there they needed to. And they came away with the win at the end of the day, right? 36-34. They came
Yeah.
away with the win right there. So that's a huge showing from Tyreek Hill. And he's on pace for like 3,600 yards right now. So I think he might got the
Yeah.
record.
11 for 215 and 2 tutties. Oh my God, bro. Leads all fantasy producers on the week. He looks like the best player in the NFL. They're using the crap out of him. Jalen Waddle got a little bit. I think he got 5 targets. The other guys kind of got sprinkled in, but yeah, like you said, it was the Tua Tyreek show. Tua goes for 466,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and 3 touchdowns. Absolute masterclass from Mike McDaniel. That offense looked fantastic. They even left, I think, a fair amount of points on the table that they could have scored. But yeah, they looked amazing. And like you mentioned, Mostert did have a good week,
Mm-hmm.
but not very efficient and clearly an afterthought after the passing game here.
Yeah, they just really didn't need him. And did you see the quote from Tyreek Hill before this game, or it might have been slightly after the game? But they
Mm-mm.
asked him like, what changed going into this year, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm out here running routes. I used to just run. Now I'm out here running routes."
I did see that actually. He was like, I actually know what I'm doing in the offense now, bro. I was just running as fast as I could before. It's like, bro, you're insane.
But you love to see stuff like that. You love to hear stuff like that. So very encouraging for Tyreek Hill going forward. And then taking a look
Yeah.
at LA, so we were kind of half right about what Kellen Moore's offense would look like. A more efficient, a more effective running game, but a more explosive passing game. But the run game was amazing. Joshua
Yeah.
Kelly actually looked like a guy out there, to be honest with you. We've been kind of
Yes.
waiting for Joshua Kelly to pop up, and he finally did it. I think they finally got their thunder and lightning combo in Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly. Anybody out there who was doubting Eckler's volume in this offense because they had 3 healthy wide receivers, yeah, you were wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But even still, with Eckler out there, Joshua Kelly still producing. They've got 2 running backs that are producing for fantasy right now. As of right now, that could change going into week 2, but as of right now, it looks like they've got a really good combination of those 2 right now.
Yeah, and worth noting, I don't know how serious it is yet. We're going to wait for more news, but Eckler did have an ankle injury. It sounds like in the third quarter. I think he continued to play, but Josh Kelly saw significantly more opportunities after the fact.
Hmm.
I think this is probably coming out after after waiver wires run, so apologies for that. But yeah, Josh Kelly is absolutely a target for me, and somebody that I think is going to have a big week and a big season going forward. But like you mentioned, more effective and efficient running game. That's going to continue throughout the season. Really excited for that. I really hope that we get to see the counterpunch for that, which is the explosive passing game, the play action game, which we didn't really get to see that much in this one. I think it's going to come. I think the Dolphins just did a good job of limiting the deep passing options, but yeah, hopefully we see more of that going forward.
Absolutely agree. Taking a look at the next game we got here, we got Las Vegas again. Oh, wait, sorry about that. We'll get that one next. We got Philly versus New England. So we got the Eagles. What do you think about the Eagles this game, man? We got some interesting takeaways, something we thought wasn't the case.
Strange game. Strange game. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I'm not going to take too much away. It was a bad weather game. It was raining. Um, but man, like the Eagles' offense looked really bad. The Eagles' defense got off to an incredibly hot start with a pick six, and then I think Jordan Davis got a strip sack that led to another score. But yeah, the offense only 1 offensive touchdown on the entire day. Jalen Hurts looked uncomfortable. Devonta Smith was really the only guy that was a beneficiary out of the receiving core. Dallas Goddard total 0 in this one, which was kind of shocking. Um, but yeah, I'm nervous, but I think better days are ahead for sure after what we saw from last season.
I think better days are ahead. A goose egg on 33 dropbacks for a tight end, not the best thing in the world when you're expecting him to be a top 10 tight end, I will say. So I am nervous about Dallas Goddard. I think that what we were talking about with Devonta Smith getting a lot of that volume and that carrying over into this season, we definitely saw
Yeah,
that yesterday.
yeah.
So if you're a Dallas Goddard owner, I'm a little bit nervous, but I don't know quite how to handle that situation. What do you think?
The crazy thing is, he ran like over 90% of routes. He
Right.
was out there, and if you look at the game tape, he was open a lot too. Like he was clearly getting frustrated, hands up in the air, wide open on a couple plays that could have been big plays. It seems like the start of last season, he was really a focal point and drawn up in like the tight end screen game and stuff like that. They were using him specifically, plays drawn up for him. Not so much in week 1. We'll see if that changes, but yeah, definitely worrisome. And then the only other thing from the Eagles offense is Kenny Gainwell dominated backfield touches, but nobody really looked impressive back there, whether it was him or Swift or whoever. And Rashad Penny,
Healthy
healthy
scratch.
scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The drum has not been beating for Rashad Penny. Kenny Gainwell, RB1 in Philly. We got the news this offseason. Apparently it was true. Apparently it was true.
Apparently.
And it was shown in the volume. Like Kenny, he got what, 14 rushes, 51 yards. DeAndre Swift, 1 rush, I believe, the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, Gainwell already dealing with an injury, questionable designation heading into next week. That's what you get for giving 14 carries to a 200-pound back. But we'll see. We'll see.
Definitely. And then taking a look at the Patriots side of the ball, second half Mac Jones, pretty impressive. The team's been through a little bit of quarterback turmoil this offseason. Didn't really know what was going on until they cut everybody but Mac Jones. So we figured Mac Jones is going to be the guy, and he stepped up. Zeke cutting into Ramondre's usage a little bit, including in the passing game. Like we kind of mentioned, he did get involved in the passing game a good bit. It's scary for Ramondre, but we're hoping that this is just due to that stomach bug. It was a stomach bug that he was dealing with the day
Believe
before,
so,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know. I'm not super concerned about Zeke, but I am, at least watching that situation, like you said, because hopefully that changes next week with Ramondre 100% healthy. But we'll see. And Juju Smith-Schuster sucks. Got less route running participation than Keyshawn Butte and Kendrick Bourne, and Hunter Henry leading the tight ends this week, 56 yards
Yeah.
receiving. So it's rough for tight ends out there in this landscape right now. But yeah, Juju, ever since we thought he was going to be a guy, he just consistently has not been the guy, really.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a little bit of kind of rumbling that this could have happened, really very much in the lead up of this game or like right before the game, and it came to fruition. He got out targeted and he had less routes run than Kendrick Bourne, like Keyshawn Butte, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
and also Demario Douglas even. So
Oof.
he was really on the back burner. I'm have no hope for him going forward. I think he's relegated to kind of the back of the bench here.
Yeah, absolutely. That knee's explosive though. We're taking a look at the next game. We got Las Vegas against Denver. So looking at the Raiders side of the ball, Jacoby Myers heavily involved. Devontae Adams was being covered by Pat Surtain, who is really good at football, but Jacoby Myers super involved in a offense that we thought was not going to pass the ball as much as they did. We didn't think there was going to be enough volume for two guys to be fantasy viable. Turns out
Yeah.
not quite the case. But with that being said, also Jacoby Myers is in concussion protocol now, so it's going to stand to be seen if he can make it back onto the field this week. But it's encouraging usage for Jacoby Myers. Josh Jacobs still being used more than any other running back in the league. Not really
Yeah.
efficiently, but still getting the volume, so that's good to see. What do you think about the Broncos side of the ball?
It was ugly. It was
Yeah,
real. This whole game was ugly. Even the Raiders side. At least there was more to take away. But yeah, there's not a ton of positivity on the Broncos side of the ball. Passing game was atrocious. Russell Wilson looked bad. None of the receivers were productive. I think Cortland Sutton got in the end zone, so that kind of saved his fantasy day. But I want to say nobody got over 40 yards receiving. It was bad. The only positive that I do have is that Javante was more involved than expected. The talk of his accelerated recovery seemed to be true. He got 19 total opportunities. Samaje Perine worked in quite a bit as well, but encouraging to see from Javante and what that's going to mean going forward.
absolutely. I think that's just going to keep getting built on and built on with more weeks go by. As more weeks go by, hopefully Denver's offense can get better, but
We'll see.
Russ is not looking great. He's not looking dangerous. That's for sure.
No.
Next game we got Green Bay and Chicago. I actually do want to talk about the Packers side of the ball here because
Let's do it.
we had made a video a little while ago about must drafts and stuff like that, and it was someone that we thought was maybe a little bit too ambitious to go onto the list. But as of the way these tight ends have been shaking out so far, he's someone you're definitely going to look for in waivers if he's not already taken by a team. That's Mr. Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State. But he 3 catches, 50 yards. One of them was kind of on a broken play. So, the yards were there, but he was still out there on the field. His route participation was amazing. We knew his route participation was going to be good coming into this because of how he was used in
Yeah.
the preseason, but that's definitely been carried over here.
His day could have been much bigger as well.
Hmm.
Jordan Love overthrew him on what would have been a walk-in touchdown, and also I don't know that I watched the highlight, but I heard on game day reviews that he had a pass that he caught, and kind of tripped over his own feet, where also he could have walked into the end zone. So he could have had a huge day.
That was on that broken play. It was kind of awkward because
Okay.
he was standing there just waiting for the ball to come to him. When it finally did, he took
Hmm.
like 2 steps. He backpedaled instead of turning, so he tripped.
Got it.
So
Got it. Okay.
that's going to change, but he definitely had a pretty good day out there. Aaron Jones also having a great day out there as well.
Fantastic.
He did have a sort of hamstring injury. He described himself as feeling like a bite. He said he had pulled and strained his hamstring before, and he said it didn't feel anything like that. So hopefully this week he's able to, work his way back out there.
He went as far as to say that, if he was needed, that he could have come back in the game.
Hmm.
I don't know whether I believe him necessarily, but that's encouraging at least to hear, for his outlook heading into next week. Even if he misses 1 week, that would probably be a good outcome with these hamstring injuries that have clearly hampered the rest of the league. And then the only other thing that I want to talk about here is I do have to concede, Jordan Love looked really good.
Yeah,
He
new
looked
owner,
sharp.
new owner of the Bears right there, Jordan Love for sure. Yeah,
New owner of the Bears.
no, but it's like you said, he was making all the right throws. He was poised. He just made a lot of good decisions back there. Now, do I think he's an all-time great? I'm still going to stay on that field where I don't, but he is a good quarterback at the very least. So I'm excited to see what this Packers offense can do going forward.
Especially once they get healthier.
Absolutely. Once they get Christian Watson back out there, they were missing their number one receiver. Romeo Dobbs stepped up pretty big as well, so that was pretty cool. Taking a look at the Bears side of the side of the game, the offensive line pretty bad, play calling even worse. No real design runs for Justin Fields this game. Look, they tried to get him more involved throwing the ball and tried to use more of the running backs they had back there. Which, if you have Justin Fields, it's not really what you do.
Yeah.
But as for the guys in the backfield, Roshan Johnson, definitely the third down back in this offense for sure. He was on the field for just about every single third down, and just in general, he looked like the best running back in this backfield. He also scored the only touchdown out of all the running backs in the backfield as well. So I really think that as the season goes along, he's going to take over this backfield probably sooner rather than later. Khalil Herbert didn't look all that great, and Deonta Foreman also just hasn't really ever really been that great. He had the season last year, but stands to be seen if he can do it again. But Roshan Johnson looking really good back there.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert got first crack, which we expected, but the game got out of hand fairly quickly, and that's when Roshan stepped in. Like we said, as the passing down back, they were doing a lot of passing to try to catch up. But yeah, the no design runs for Justin Fields after you saw how effective that was for you at the end of last season. What are we doing? And then also, if you're not going to design runs, can we have a more creative passing game? Like, how are we just going to throw everything around the line of scrimmage? I guess because your offensive line is so terrible, you have no time. But like, you knew this. Like, let's have some more creativity. Let's do better, Bears. But outlook is not great for them right now,
Nah.
especially DJ Moore. I'll say that is looking bad.
Hey man, Bears going Bears. And I've been telling people for years, DJ Moore, I love him as a player. I just don't know what it is with this NFL thing. It's not working out for him, and he's not getting sent to good places to play, bro.
The
It's
locations, the situations are not good.
never. Moving to the next game, just an ugly game. We got Arizona and Washington. Eric was actually at this game. We don't know how much of it he remembers, but he was there. He was present. Uh, it was just ugly. We can talk about the Cardinals. It's going to be pretty quick. James Conner, as we said, high volume, low in efficiency, but high volume. So he's going to be out there. He's going to get the ball a lot. Got 19 total touches. That's what you love to see out of your running back, no matter what the situation is, really. Zach Ertz, 10 targets, seems to be Joshua Dobbs' favorite target out there. So Zach Ertz, if he's available out there on waivers, which I'm sure he is, probably go for it. I'm going to try to get this video out today so people can see this. I'm going to do my best.
Okay.
So
All right.
Zach Ertz for sure. Definitely look for him out there on waivers. What do you think about the Commanders, our team?
Also ugly. Yeah,
Mhm.
Arizona's supposed to be the worst team in the league, and we barely eked out a victory. It didn't help that we had a bunch of ugly turnovers to start the game off. That really set us back. But positivity here. Brian Robinson, 21 opportunities, looked decent on him. The guy that we mentioned, people were drafting Antonio Gibson ahead of him. We knew that that wasn't the answer. B-Rob is always going to be the guy in this backfield, and that showed to be the case in week one. And then kind of a little bit of a surprise considering all of the talent in the wide receiver room. Logan Thomas led the team in targets with 8. Nobody really had a huge day in the receiving game, but worth noting with the tight end landscape the way that it is, Logan Thomas could potentially be worth an ad, I guess, in like deeper leagues or two tight end leagues.
I would say, honestly, I would say go for Logan Thomas, even in the one tight end league, because one thing Ron Rivera has made absolutely sure of to make sure he states throughout this whole tenure as a coach is that he wants to get Logan Thomas super involved. The only problem is Logan Thomas hasn't really been on the field to be involved. He's
Yeah.
been hurt. But with
Yeah.
8 targets in his first real game back, I think that's more fire than smoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I can
But
understand that.
he is still an aging tight end, so take it with a grain of salt. He could be out for the season next week. Who knows? Taking a look at the next game, we got San Francisco and Pittsburgh. What do you think about the 49ers side of the ball, sir?
Bro, I'm excited to toss to you for your boy, but I'll talk about some other people first.
Okay.
CMC looked fantastic, looked incredibly efficient, zero volume concerns. People got worried and all up in arms when the team came out and said that they wanted to limit his touches, that they didn't want to overwork him. Nothing changed from last year. Honestly, it got better from last year, which is what we had talked about. It no longer a mid-season trade where he's trying to learn this thing on the fly. He got the full off season to be involved. Elijah Mitchell was a full afterthought,
Mm-hmm.
so he was fantastic. 27 total opportunities. You love to see that. Brock Purdy, again, I got to concede. I got to give credit. He's going to have his ups and downs. It's never going to be perfect, but he was better than I thought, and he's going to be able to lead this offense to pretty good days. The Steelers defense isn't a slouch. They're not, tops in the league, but had a great day against them. And then I'll let you talk about your boy.
So, I remember there was a time when people in the comments were upset with me when I said that Brandon Ayuk was a better receiver than Debo Samuel. There were people who doubted it. There were people who said I was wrong. There were people that said I was crazy. People that said that Debo Samuel was far and away a better football player. And to that sentiment, I'm not super upset about that. But Brandon Ayuk this weekend, 8 catches, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. You can't ask for more than that. It's at this point, it's just set it and forget it. He is a favorite target on this team. He was the most targeted player on this team. Debo did get a good amount. He got 7 targets as well. So it's not like Debo's dead in the water. But this is more of a testament to speak towards Brandon Ayuk, his role in this offense, how much the team respects him, how much they're going to look to him, because a lot of those looks were red zone looks as well. They weren't just, deep balls that end up going for long. He was getting red zone looks as a wide receiver. So honestly, I'm super optimistic about Brandon Ayuk. I think there's fire here, no smoke. Honestly, if you got Brandon Ayuk in your lineup, until further notice, set it and forget it. I think he's going to be good for the rest of the season, and you shouldn't have doubted him to begin with, to be honest.
Yeah. The only note that I have, and this is not to throw water on the fire. I love Brandon Ayuk. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to succeed the most for this team when they're
Mhm.
going up against primarily man defensive coverage.
Mhm.
That's where he's at his best. Debo is probably going to be more of a beneficiary when they play against zone heavy defenses. So if you can get the splits on that heading into a week and what their matchup is going to be, I think that's something to lean on. But regardless, Ayuk is going to eat. And it was just so encouraging to see this usage already in week 1.
Absolutely. And then we're going to take a look at the Steelers. The 49ers defense was amazing, but Kenny Pickett was bad. There's no real hiding that. He just did Kenny Pickett things. I'm sorry, guys. I was a little bit too optimistic. I thought he had taken a step. That's on me. I'll take the blame for that one. I was the first one on this channel to say it. I'll take the blame. Matt Canada calling the plays did not help. In terms of the backfield, it looks like Jalen Warren and Najee Harris are pretty much splitting work pretty evenly, about 50-50. A lot of the passing work's definitely going more towards Jalen Warren than Najee Harris. So that volume, it looks like it has definitely been cut into. Another thing that I, didn't think was going to happen, but it did, and I'm owning up to it. And then Deontay Johnson going down with what looked like a pretty serious hamstring injury. So that really hurt to see. It looked like the team, when he went down, they tried to use, Calvin Austin as sort of a Deontay Johnson replacement. He was more of the volume guy, even though he's usually more of a slot guy. So
He looked decent.
he did. I don't think he's really worth having on the team, though, especially not on this offense. I don't know. But Deontay Johnson going down definitely hurts.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think about the Steelers side of the ball? There wasn't really too much to be optimistic about. George Pickens was George Pickens, guys. I'm not talking about George Pickens.
George Pickens is already complaining, by the
Yeah.
way, already complaining about lack of volume. So that is what it is. Allen Robinson, I think, ended up leading the team in targets, which you hate to see. You never want that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't emphasize enough how much Matt Canada needs to be fired. That offense is atrocious with him running it. Hopefully, brighter days ahead when they're not facing one of the best defenses in the entire NFL. But with Deontay Johnson out, I don't know that it's going to get too much better.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. They're gonna have to lean on the likes of Darnell Washington. Think they'll get him out on the field a little bit.
Don't even.
We'll move on to the next game. We got Tennessee against New Orleans.
Even grosser. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So we're gonna talk about the Saints. So in terms of the passing game looked great. Olave, Mike Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, all looking pretty fantasy viable. Rashid Shaheed having a really good game. Someone that Eric has been pounding the table for since last season. Eric, you got anything to say about this Saints passing offense? Because I know.
Oh, okay. You're just gonna drop me off like that. It's all good. I'll pick it up. Rashid Shaheed, you mentioned in Dynasty. I think he's definitely somebody that I've been targeting. In redraft, we didn't talk about him very much. I didn't think that there was going to be enough volume to go around. And I still think that that's probably the case. This was an A-plus matchup for their passing game. Very much a passing funnel against the Tennessee defense. Opposite for the run game, which we kind of saw with Jamal Williams, who got all of the volume but looked terrible. I'm hoping that we can attribute that to the Titans' great front four. But also, I think Jamal just might be aging out. He might be kind of washed at this point. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, he just didn't really look anything like himself, to be honest. Like you said, it looks like he may be aging out. He's so inefficient. And last year he was pretty inefficient, but this year it looked even worse. So
Yeah.
he may be falling off the cliff at this point. He's not somebody I thought he was going to be like one of those set and forget it type of guys too for these 3 weeks, but it might be tough sledding these next 3 weeks, to be honest. Especially when RB0 and you're leaning on Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Oof.
We'll have to see.
And then looking at the Titans side of the ball, Ryan Tannehill looking washed as usual. Fuck Ryan Tannehill.
I knew that was coming.
Tyjae Spears outsnapped Derrick Henry. Didn't outproduce Derrick Henry, but definitely outsnapped him. Got on the field also for a lot of passing down work as well. So take a look at that. I don't think he's going to usurp Derrick Henry at any point during the season, but he may get more involved than people are expecting his rookie year. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And he's clearly the handcuff to have in this backfield for sure, if that wasn't obvious before. And DeAndre Hopkins, let's talk about it. Because he was somebody that in the offseason I was talking about a lot, saying that you don't get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins and you don't use him. And what they did was use him. He got a 40% target share, just about a 40% target share. Turned that into 7 catches for 65 yards. Obviously, he couldn't find the end zone, but the usage is there and the production is there. And D-Hop, maybe he's taking a step back because he's getting older, but at the same time, it doesn't really look like it out there too much. But what do you think about this side of the ball over here?
Bro, this offense is buns.
Yep.
They're so bad. Tannehill to the Jets, maybe?
I hope.
Maybe.
At this
We'll
point.
see.
Malik Willis
We'll see.
season?
Malik Willis. Yeah, I guess Malik Willis probably outplayed, what's-his-face? Will Levis for the backup spots. We'll see about that. Maybe worth mentioning. Bro, what's so funny? What's his face?
No, it's just funny, man. He was a guy who was like a top 4 QB coming into this process for the draft, and now he's what's his face because he is what's his face. He is.
But yeah, one more thing maybe worth mentioning. I think maybe for the dynasty streets as opposed to redrafts, but Chigo Okonkwo, the most involvement from like an underlying metric standpoint, the amount of snaps and the target share. I think he got. Am I right about that? I'm not sure how many times he got targeted, but I know that his snap share was the best of his career.
I will take a look.
Ended up
but
with a
I'm
goose egg.
pretty sure you're correct. I'll take a look.
Okay. So yeah, he might be worth looking at or buying low on in Dynasty. I'm not encouraged about his production for the season just based on how this offense looked in general, but you know, a guy that popped last year and was very involved in this one.
I am folding on these stats right now. I'm still pulling it up. I forgot I'd use a computer earlier.
It's all good.
So we're taking a look at stats right here. Bang. Receiving. We got Chico Okonkwo with 2 targets. So not the most targeted on the team, but like you said, his participation out there in terms of running routes, being out there on the field, route participation was 100% there. It's just a matter of them throwing the ball, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Taking a look at the next game we got out here, we've got Tampa Bay and Minnesota. You want to talk about the Bucs side of the ball, or you want to talk about Minnesota? Which one do you want to talk about?
I'll go with the Bucks.
Okay,
I'm pretty excited to talk shit about Rashad White. Fuck
let's
that
do it.
guy. Bro, we've been preaching to you this offseason that he is bad at football. The opportunity share was there.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that that was going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of hedging our bets on that maybe volume was going to be king and it was going to be enough for him. No, it's not. He faced the Minnesota defense, who's awful, awful, so bad. Still the worst running performance that we've seen in the past 2 years as far as EPA per play. He was horrendous and wasn't even that good in the passing game either. So yeah, I just was really hyped to talk about how bad Rashad White is. And then Baker, not great, but not bad. Kind of what we saw from him in the preseason. Again, Minnesota's defense is terrible, so I don't expect him to be able to support two fantasy viable receivers every week. But Mike Evans was the one that found the end zone. Chris Godwin also heavily targeted and a decent output. I think it's probably going to switch back and forth between those two. Who's really going to produce week in and week out?
I 100% agree. I don't think he's going to be able to sustain both, like you said, just a bad matchup or bad defense that we're going up against this week. Like you said, Baker. It's funny that you said that. Not good, but not bad. I feel like that's just his whole career, really.
Yep.
But taking a look at the Vikings side of the ball, it's really just Justin Jefferson versus the world out there. What do you have? 9 catches, 138 yards in the first half, and then 2 catches for 12 in the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
150 spot on the game. Yeah.
150 on the game. Obviously frustrated out there for sure, but he's still getting his volume. He's still doing what he needs to do for fantasy. You just want him to score more, but otherwise he's doing everything else you need. Alexander Madison got the lion's share of the backfield work, but he also struggled against Tampa Bay, which is kind of expected. They usually have a really good run defense, and that hasn't been too much different. But at the same time, I don't think Madison really looked great out there as well. I don't think he's really anybody to get super excited about going forward either. But
Yeah.
if you got him, you probably got to start him. So I don't know. That's really all I got to say about the Vikings. They didn't really do too much. Well, Jordan Addison also played very well this weekend. 4 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. A lot of that came on a 39-yard touchdown pass. And he didn't play.
Broken coverage.
Yeah, broken coverage. And he didn't play in 2 wide receiver sets. So it's not something to get super excited about, but it is production early on. Yeah, it's definitely going to change. He's going to pass KJ Osborne at some point.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. But as of right now, it's something to keep an eye on and definitely be excited about. I don't know if he's someone that's just set and forget it, but definitely excited.
Yeah.
Looking forward, we got Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Talking about the Jaguars, Calvin Ridley was exactly who we thought he was, and that's him. Turns out he should have been a first-round pick, not a third-round pick this year. So Calvin Ridley definitely out there hooping. Christian Kirk's usage was extremely worrisome. And Eric, I want to say Eric was the one to say this first on the channel, so I want to give him his props because he noticed that Zay Jones was the one out there in those 2 wide receiver sets and not Christian Kirk. And that completely carried over this season. So bravo to Eric for spotting that one. He was 100% right there. And then taking a look at Tank Bigsby, he was given the first shot at red zone usage, but looked awful. Ended up scoring one of them, dropped a pass that turned into an interception, also fumbled. So not the best day for the rookie out there. But I feel like in terms of production, him and ETN actually looked similar. ETN obviously had more points, had that 26-yard touchdown run, so that definitely inflated things a little bit on the ETN side. But before that run, I would say their usage looked somewhat similar, but ETN definitely got the nod in the passing game as well, which is what we had hoped for. So that was awesome to see. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what this means for Bigsby in the near future. If his performance in week 1 reduces his role, hopefully not. I guess depending on who you're really rooting for. If you want ETN to break out, he showed that he can handle the workload and he looked efficient and good in that opportunity. Like you mentioned, Christian Kirk. To play devil's advocate, because I did, this was somebody I was worried about. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was this week in an offense as good as the Jaguars are. Is he a buy low, or are you kind of staying away at this point and waiting to see what goes on?
So my thing is, if you want to buy low on him, right now is the time to do it. Absolutely right now. There's no point, I feel like, in the season his value is going to be any lower unless he comes out and puts out an absolute stinker next week, which I don't, like you said, I don't really see that continuing going forward. But it's definitely worrisome for sure. But I would buy low on him right now if I had the opportunity to.
I don't really have like
Like
value range in
a
mind.
trade in mind.
If you want to, yeah, if you want to hit us in the comments or hit us up in the Discord and kind of talk through some stuff, we can talk through it with you. But I'm not excited to put him on my team necessarily, but I do think things are going to get better for him. This is one of the worst performances he's probably going to have on the season.
And honestly, Trevor Lawrence, he looked pretty good. He looked great out there. Looks like he's
He looked
finally
really
taking those
good.
steps. So I'm
Yep,
excited for everybody in this passing offense, really.
absolutely.
And then you get to talk about your boy. I'm gonna throw it over to you for your boy.
Bro, hey, Rich. Yo, really, really promising debut from Anthony Richardson. I thought he looked comfortable back there. I thought he looked like he belongs in the league. Everybody that was saying that he's raw, everybody that was saying, he doesn't have it as a passer, you're wrong. You're straight up wrong. Like, if you look at the box score, maybe it wasn't the most impressive, but he was evading pressure incredibly well. I thought he was throwing with fantastic anticipation. He was reading defenses. He had one play that I thought was a fantastic highlight that kind of went under the radar, where he was able to diagnose the blitz before the play even happened, adjusted his protection, and got to his hot read in Josh Downs immediately, picked up a big 20 yards. I thought it was a really good performance from him. Um, the offense is going to struggle, especially when the run game is as bad as it was without Jonathan Taylor back there. Deion Jackson is awful. Evan Hull got hurt. So we'll see what this team is going to look like going forward. I think it's going to be kind of a roller coaster. But from a dynasty perspective, I am highly encouraged by Anthony Richardson.
100%. 37 dropbacks. I wasn't expecting 37 dropbacks out of him. So just seeing that was
Yeah.
amazing to see. So they're really working on developing them. So that's definitely going to be exciting. One thing you want to see out of Anthony Richardson too, want to see him slide a little bit more, not take as many hits as he
Yeah,
did.
dude. He got messed up. He
Yeah.
needs to be a little bit smarter with the running game if he wants to have longevity. But I mean, he's just a beast. He was running people over out
I have
there.
to say he's a big guy, so I'm not too scared about it. But definitely something he needs to work into his game a little bit more. Deion Jackson's ass and Evan Hull got hurt, so the running back is going to be pretty rough back here. Zach Moss should be back pretty soon because he didn't play this last
Yeah.
game. He should be back pretty soon
Right.
though. And
Yep.
Michael Pittman proving me wrong, shutting me up. Honestly, I don't
Me
know.
too.
I don't know
Yeah.
but I don't know if in terms of talent he shut me up. But I will say in terms of usage, he definitely shut me up for sure.
Yeah.
11 targets, almost all of which were in the second half. Was able to convert one of them into a touchdown, I believe, on a screenplay as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So honestly, Michael Pittman stocks definitely up. Josh Down stocks going up a little bit faster than I thought they would this season as well. We knew he was going to be the slot guy for this team, but it's not like it was super impressive, but it was cool to see him getting as involved as he was as early as he was.
The biggest takeaway as far as like how do I they passed the ball way more than we expected is basically what we thought, or we expected them to be incredibly run heavy, maybe the most run heavy team in the league, and that wasn't the case. And so with that being the case, there's going to be much more involvement for the receivers. Michael Pittman happened to be the beneficiary week 1.
Yep. And then moving to the next game, we got Cincinnati and Cleveland, Battle of Ohio. We got the Bengals side of the ball, and we're going to start that off with everybody just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Woosah. We're good. It's going to be okay.
It's okay.
Bad game due to the weather. We're going to attribute a lot of that to it. Also, Joe Burrow missed a good majority of camp with that calf injury he was dealing with. And, missing that in preseason reps is going to affect you as a quarterback. You're going to kind of be walking out there pretty fresh, pretty rusty as well. Preseason's a good opportunity to knock a lot of that rust off, but he didn't get that. So going forward, things should get better. But, we're going to wait and see. But I don't think it's anything to be super concerned about at all. I think they're going to bounce back in a major way pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for one, like you mentioned, terrible weather, raining the whole time. Maybe I don't want to read too much into the narrative, but Joe Burrow, smaller hands in the rain, makes it tough, whatever. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Also, worth noting, the Browns played out of their minds on defense. I wish I had the charts in front of me. I was scrolling Twitter and I saw that, like, historic performance from their secondary and their pass rush. I think they led the NFL defensively in terms of I don't know what the defensive version of EPA is or if it's basically the same, but they were tops in the league across the board on all levels on defense. Myles Garrett was doing crossovers at the line of scrimmage before rushing the passer. His confidence was through the roof. So again, not taking too much away from the Bengals in this one. things are going to be better moving forward. Brown's side of the ball, also not a great performance offensively. Again, weather played a huge impact. Deshaun Watson was up and down, missed a couple big bomb throws to Marquise Goodwin. Both of them could have been walk-in touchdowns, so maybe he's worth a look in deeper leagues as well. And then Nick Chubb is what we expected, incredibly efficient on 18 carries and 4 receptions on 4 targets, which was really encouraging.
Yeah, they had said they were going to get him more involved in the passing game, and they did it pretty early on. So definitely encouraging to see right there. Like you said, not too much. I think Deshaun Watson also threw one of the worst interceptions I've seen in a while. But
Just right to the linebacker, dude, right in the breadbasket.
so I don't know exactly what's going on with Deshaun Watson, but we're hoping that gets better.
Yeah.
Taking a look at Houston and Baltimore, this game pretty much went how we expected it to, but there were still some heartbreaking moments for sure. I'm gonna let you talk about the Ravens side of the ball first.
Bro, can we play some sad music or some shit? Cause
Oh,
J.K. Dobbins,
yeah,
oh man, I was so excited for him. He was one of the guys that we had talked about as like I wasn't really hyping him for most of camp, most of the offseason. Then I realized all of the negativity around him was narrative driven. The role was fantastic. All of the camp hype had been good, and it seemed like his workload in that first quarter was fantastic. He wasn't coming off the field. He was getting receptions. He was efficient in the ground game, and then he tore his Achilles. So
yeah,
I'm just so sad. I drafted him on quite a few teams. Yeah, yeah. I'm
same,
personally hurting from
same.
this one. Will is as well. So apologies to all the people that we encouraged to draft him.
Uh,
Just a heartbreaker there.
yeah,
But more positive notes. Let's be positive here. Zay Flowers, fucking fantastic.
hmm
He looked really really good. 10 targets. Only thing that I can take away is that it was kind of like low ADOT, somewhat gadgety usage. But when he had the ball in his hands, oh my goodness, he looked electric.
yeah. I mean, that's what you get a Zay Flowers for, Like he is a good
Yeah,
receiver. I'm not gonna say he's not, but he wasn't drafted to be a great wide receiver. He was drafted to be a guy that you get him the ball in open space, he will make something happen. It doesn't matter how you get
yeah,
it to him, you just want to get it to him. And
yep,
like you said, when he had the ball, he was electric. So awesome to see. And also, this offense should just perform better when Mark Andrews is back. I feel like that was a
yeah,
major hindrance for the team not having him out there. So
right,
Zay Flowers' targets may come down possibly, but I do expect that A dot to go up for sure.
yep,
And then looking at Houston, Damian Pierce was not exactly the bell cow we anticipated. At least not in a very bad game script like this was for them. Um, what was it? Mike Boone, I believe, getting involved quite a bit in the third down passing role. Devin
yeah.
Singletary
Mike
kind of taking
Boone,
some early down work a little
yep,
bit. The offensive line is just kind of bad all around. Made it kind of tough for anybody to
putrid.
produce out there. Really, yeah,
Yeah,
terrible. Nico Collins did okay though. Did he get injured this game? Did he go down this
I don't
game?
think
I feel
so.
like I've seen something. I think they're just talking about past health. I didn't really get to watch much of this game, to be honest. But
You
I
didn't
think they were
need
just,
to. It was an ugly one.
yeah, I think they were talking about past health for Nico Collins and him being out on the field. I also saw Tank Dell got involved quite a bit as well for his first game too.
Yeah, I think he was still like the third option. Robert Woods and Nico Collins were the leaders in the passing game. I think both with like 10 targets, up there in targets. But yeah, this offense just wasn't very good. So I'm not gonna anticipate a lot of touchdown scoring for anybody, and that's gonna be really capping everybody's upside.
CJ Stroud not shitting it up, so that was actually pretty encouraging to see as well.
True.
Doing pretty good
Yeah.
out there.
Yep.
And looking at the next game, the penultimate game, we've got Carolina and Atlanta. Um, I hate Arthur Smith. I really
Fuck
do.
that guy. What are we doing? Like, okay. All right. Hold on. Atlanta, you won the game. And I guess that's what matters. Right? So, good job. But good luck with that for the rest of the season when you're not playing the fucking Panthers. God, like, and then the balls on Arthur Smith to come out after the game and say this isn't fantasy football. He's gonna call out fantasy again for not using your 2 first round talents. Why would you draft him? if you're not going to use him, it doesn't. I'm clearly upset. I don't know what to say.
Nah, nah, that was good. I like that. But like, it's true. It's what everybody out there is thinking. Every Kyle Pitts owner has been thinking for years. Drake London owners are for sure thinking right now with him putting up a goose egg this week.
Desmond Ritter caught more passes than Drake London in this game. What are we doing? Okay. All
Hey,
right. All right.
hey, on the bright
Reset.
side, Bijan looked good though.
He looked fantastic.
Led the
He
team
looked
in
but
target share at running back when you got
even
Kyle Pitts.
even even that is a little upsetting just because of how involved Tyler Algier was. But I'll give it to him. Bijan, when he had the opportunity, looked great. Like you said, 33% target share is fantastic. I think game script. Why did I say it like that? That was weird inflection.
It's all right.
Game script played a lot into Algier's usage. Bijan was clearly the first back on the field and was used more in the first half. Game got out of hand. Algier came in and ended up out carrying him and looked great in his own right. He picked up right where he left off from last season. But I think in worse game scripts, which might not be coming that often because Atlanta's strength of schedule is one of the easiest in the NFL, if not the easiest. But when they play tougher defenses, I think Bijan's going to be more involved.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that's going to be tailed off at some point in the season. But like you said, it's good to see him actually out there and playing. We thought Tyler Algier was dead in the water, and apparently he's very much not so.
Yeah.
Riles up like the Undertaker. Taking a look at the Panthers side of the ball, Bryce Young struggled quite a bit. Nobody
Yeah.
really got anything done in the receiving game except for Hayden Hurst, somebody I was kind of
Which
saying
you
this
called.
offseason. Yeah,
Gotta give credit to you. You were big on Hayden Hurst. I wasn't as much of a believer. Absolutely very involved. I think what, the tight end two on the week?
I believe so. I believe so. So definitely
Bro,
good to see. I don't know how much it's going to carry forward, but I am excited about
I
that one. I think his role is pretty
think
solid.
it'll keep going. Yeah, the only thing I was gonna say is that after week one, Hunter Henry and Hayden Hurst, the top two tight ends. Oof, brother.
Oof.
Yikes.
Hey, Travis Kelsey will be back at some point soon. Don't worry. Soon it'll
Let's
be
hope.
Travis
Let's hope.
Kelsey, then Hunter Henry, then Hayden Hurst. So,
Yeah.
and also another set of news from this Panthers game: Miles Sanders was not the bell cow we thought he was going to be. Chuba Hubbard got worked in quite a bit, so it's just a committee back there for the most part. It's going to be him,
Yeah.
Chuba, and whoever else they really want to hand the ball off to. Of course, Miles Sanders
Yeah.
also came off of dealing with a groin injury, so it's possible they're trying to work him back up to that workload as well.
That's a good note. That's worth mentioning. I thought he looked good when he did touch the ball, as
Hmm.
good as you can on an offense that was struggling like that. But yeah, hopefully that's a good note that I kind of forgot about. Dealing with the groin injury, hopefully he gets more work going forward.
And then, with that being said, we are on to the final game on the docket. We got Detroit and Kansas City, first game of the season. Yeah, this is one that is gonna be kind of fun to talk about, man. It's gonna be fun to talk about. I know there's. I'm gonna just let Eric go ahead, bro, because this is a guy he's been talking about for a long time. We're talking about the Chiefs side of the ball. Go ahead, man. Let's see it.
Where the guy that I've been talking about for a long time.
You've been talking about a guy on this Chiefs team for a long time. You've been making fun of a guy on this Chiefs team for a long time. This is
Oh,
your
okay,
opportunity,
okay.
brother.
'Cause there were a couple, and I wasn't sure what you're talking about. But yeah, Kadarius, motherfucking Tony, bro. Oh my goodness, maybe the worst wide receiver performance we've seen in the last decade from an EPA perspective, from a PFF grade perspective, just awful. Cost his team the game with hitting him in both hands, leading to a pick six. Um, I don't even know what to say. It was terrible performance from Kadarius Toney. Sky Moore, who we had kind of had higher hopes for, did a lot of cardio in this one.
Hmm.
I will say he did receive like an okay amount of targets, and almost all of them were off target. It wasn't all on him, the lack of turning those targets into receptions, but still not very encouraging. This team needs Kelsey back
Hmm.
bad.
They need Kelsey back bad. Hey, my boy Rasheed Rice though. Rasheed Rice
Yeah.
able to score the first touchdown for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
That was kind of cool. It's not the best
sure.
usage in the world. It's not like he's a world breaker, but it was cool to see he got involved in a game where nobody else was getting anything done. So
Bro, tell me he's not going to get more involved next week.
he
You're telling
absolutely
me with
is.
Kadarius Toney's performance that he's going to stay as the wide receiver three?
Hey, so look, Patrick Mahomes. He said he'd trust him. He's like, I trust KT. We're gonna see what can happen.
I will play devil's advocate, not because I think you should read into it, not because I think you should believe in Kadarius Toney, but just for the haters out there that are gonna, hit the comments up saying I didn't mention it. Kadarius Toney, 45% target per route run. His target per route run rate has always been fantastic. Has always been one of the tops in the league. Never done anything with it. So there's that.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Ooh, that's a little damning right there. With that being said, also on the Chiefs side of the ball, the backfield split, they were just kind of as we expected. It was pretty much a committee back there. Pacheco looked good in his opportunities he got. Clyde Edwards-Helaire also did not look bad in the opportunities he got as well. He didn't look great. It's Clyde at the end of the day still, but he didn't look bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for this backfield, isn't it? They have like Deneric
Yeah,
Prince. He didn't really mix in too much this game. People thought he was going to mix in a little bit more than he did.
Yeah, Jarrett McKinnon got almost nothing in the passing game, which is something that we had hoped to see.
Mhm.
I want to concede here as well. I think I was right in terms of Pacheco's usage, but I think I was wrong about how he looked when he touched the ball. He looked really good. He
Mhm.
looked really good in the limited opportunities, so I'll give him that.
He's a strong runner. He's good, good running back.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Lions side of the ball. As much as we hate to say it, this team needs Jamison Williams because right now they are not opening up the field at all. Amon-Ra
They
St.
are so slow. So slow, dude.
The pace is incredibly slow. Amon-Ra St. Brown did look great out there, but at a certain point, he can only do but so much when they're throwing him the ball every play. Sam Laporta also able to get some stuff done, able to get some stuff done after the catch as well, which was really encouraging to see. But
Yeah.
it's like you said, this field is not open right now. I think the biggest thing they really need to do is let Jahmyr Gibbs loose. You know,
Yes.
they
Yes.
need to let him
Dude,
loose
he
a little
looked
bit.
electric. He looked so good. He broke 6 tackles, which led the NFL in week 1 on only 7 carries. He was phenomenal on the limited touches that he got. We heard from Dan Campbell that he's going to get more work going
Hmm.
forward. It was the plan to kind of bring him on slowly. I still think that we're going to see a very heavy workload for Demont week in and week out. He's filled that Jamal Williams role basically to a T.
Hmm.
And I think that even as inefficient as it is, it plays kind of an important part in the way that they run their offense. But I do certainly expect Gibbs to get more touches as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his reasoning was that he wanted him to see what a real NFL game looked like before he gave him, the real opportunity. Which, me, in my opinion, if I'm a head coach and I'm letting somebody see what the game looks like and he's the best player on the field, I'm probably gonna let him keep playing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs definitely something to be excited about going forward, and that's going to actually wrap up the entirety of our recap. No, it was a long one, but we got through every single game from the slate. So with that being said, if you guys made it this far into the video, we got through every single game. So drop a like down there for us. It's absolutely free. Drop a comment, like Eric said, if you feel like we glossed over anything, if we missed any details, anything like that from this weekend. Because again, we covered everything. So if there's anything you want to talk about, let us know. We'll have a conversation about it. And also hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so that way we can keep growing as a channel, keep getting out there in front of more people, and keep giving y'all the content that y'all want. But Eric, before we go, you got anything for the people?
Yeah. Hit the links down in the description below. Like I mentioned, the Discord, if you want to have a deeper conversation about anything we talked about here, hit us up there. We have some sponsors to talk about over at Dynasty Owner. If you're interested in kind of a unique and different Dynasty experience, you can use our promo code listed below to get 20% off at checkout. Also, we are partnered with the League Winners. They're putting out a ton of great content right now. So if you're not getting enough from us, head on over to them, check out their content as well to get yourself prepared for the rest of the fantasy season. And through them, we're also partnered with Sleeper. You can use our promo code FFLW to get a 100% deposit match over there for all of your prop betting and all your gambling needs. Gamble responsibly, but use that promo code FFLW. And then lastly, go check out Do Numbers for some cool hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all sorts of apparel. I'm wearing one right now. So yeah, go check that out. Use our promo code to get, 15% off? Do Numbers 15% off at checkout. But yeah, that'll wrap things up for us. If you stuck with us all the way till the end, as always, we love you, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.